Hi, and welcome to Round Robin. I am not Robin McCormick. I'm Mike Holtzclaw. I am filling in today. And here in the studio with us is Jeff Pugh, who works in facilities management with the city, and he is here to talk about bicycles. So, Jeff, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, talk just a little bit right now about what it is that you're doing with used bikes and abandoned bikes. I stopped short of calling it a program because it's not something you're doing through a city office. It's something you're doing on your own.
Yes. Personally, it's bikes to me are a way of travel, a way of having fun, a way of freedom. And I saw broken bikes that were easily fixed that were on the back of people's trucks. So what I did is I would collect them and fix them up and give them to people. It's some of the bikes that they don't need a lot of work. You know, filling up some tires, patching a hole, sanding down a chain, getting it back to a working machine.
And so what made you first decide to do this? A lot of people, even people who are avid bike riders and who know how to do basic repairs, they would see a broken down or abandoned bike and would think, well, that's a shame. But what made you decide, I want to get that bike and fix it and get it back out?
I like working with my hands, and I like turning ugly stuff into pretty stuff, or broken stuff into usable stuff. So it just kind of morphed. Like you see something that's broken. I like fixing stuff, and so I fixed it. And then when I realized that there was people in my neighborhood, people in schools, Bethel High School just did a survey in one of our local grade schools, and 70% of the kids don't have bicycles. They don't have the option to even ride a bicycle. Okay, fine, I'll take on that mantle. I will get every kid in Hampton a bicycle one way or another. So that's the drive. I mean, if we can get our youth into bicycles, well, they're not only healthier, but our crime rates will go down. We will have interactions with more adults. If the childs are in crisis, our mental health system is so great. If an adult sees a kid in crisis, that's one more opportunity on a bicycle that someone sees that there's something wrong.
A lot of people probably take for granted what a bike means. You get on it and you ride, but when you were growing up, when you were a kid, when you were a teenager, what did a bicycle mean to you?
Well,
more than a toy.
Safety. It was me escaping. I grew up in a really poor neighborhood. It was a lot of drug activity, early 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
In Canton, Ohio.
In Canton, Ohio, where there was a lot of drug use, a lot of crime, a lot of everything else. And I was one of a kid that was not connected to any of their groups. So I was targeted. So my easiest way to get out of my neighborhood was a bike. Hop on my bike, leave the neighborhood, go somewhere else, go to a safer neighborhood, go to the CYC, go to my grandma's house that lived on a lake, just escape. And it gave me a chance to escape and get away from beatings, hittings, harassment. So for me, it was more like a freedom, like, okay, I'm free to be myself on my bike.
And even now, as an adult, a bicycle means a lot more to you than just a set of wheels and a way to get from point A to point B.
Way more than a set of wheels. For somebody that has a car that works, that's functioning, a bike doesn't mean so much. But if someone that is poorer and they can't afford a car, all they're doing is walking. So it takes 3 times the amount of time that they need to do to go get groceries because they have to walk to the grocery store. So if we can take our cheap or our broken, discarded machines and fix them up and give them back to the poor, then, well, hey, they just have an option to have a better life. So we're making their lives a little better. And it's going to take the community. It's just me right now, but We're hoping to expand to more volunteers, more people that are willing to give up some time to say, yeah, I like that idea.
Right now, you're just kind of finding abandoned bikes?
Well, I use social media. It's Channel 3, that interview helped.
WTKR
right.
named you a hometown hero.
Yes, for just the simple fact that I like giving bikes to people. And it's fun and it's nice. And I think that, well, as a community, I think if we really engage with this program, which it is, we're starting it to be a nonprofit. We're trying to get so we can go for grants and really go after some of the bigger name bicycle companies to say, hey, this is an idea that we have. Can you help us drop our crime rate by actually being a part of this program?
When did you learn to do basic repairs on bikes? Did you learn that as a kid, or was it
I learned it myself. I just I had a pipe wrench, I had a screwdriver, I had some tape. I would get patches. You can use cement glue and pieces of rubber from an old tire to make your patch. So I just figured it out myself. I tore it apart, put it back together, tore it apart, put it back together. It was just a learning process. I was hungry to. Well, I would take apart radios. I would take apart anything. Anything that could be taken apart, I took apart and tried to build it into something different.
I would guess, and I can't repair a bike myself. I could learn from you.
Yes, you could.
But most bikes that people throw out or discard are probably relatively easy fixes.
Yes, a wire wheel on a drill. If someone has a frozen chain, you can have that chain workable in like 5 minutes with some WD-40 and a wire wheel. I had a lady come from Virginia Beach from the Channel 3's news article just so I could fix her 15-year-old grandson's bike. It was frozen up. The tire and the handlebar was all switched up. His brakes were bad. Half hour he had not a brand new bike, but a workable bike that could get him back on his bike. And if he likes it a lot, well, he could take it to a real bike shop and actually give one of his local businesses business. And then it's more like he had an opportunity to see what could happen very quickly.
You doing this work in your home, or do you have some space where you do it?
Well, I live in a condo, so in the summertime, I work out in the driveway. In the wintertime, it's a little harder, it's a little cold. So in the wintertime, I slow down, but like we have a building and facilities that doesn't have a roof. Well, it has a roof, but it's leaking, and I store some of my bikes there. And as I get people that need bikes, I just pull a bike out, fix it up when I can, where I can, and then get it to them.
How do you find people to give the bikes to?
It just happens. It happens. Somebody reaches out. Somebody says, hey, I need a bike. If I see a parent with a kid and I say, hey, does your kid need a bike? If the parent says yes, let's move something. Let's do something. It's a small scale now. But one day I hope to be able to do like whole neighborhoods. Whole nedborhoods.
I don't even have to ask. You still ride bikes regularly?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have an electric because I'm older. I have a pedal assist, but it helps me go farther. It helps me do more things. I can carry more stuff on it. I have a little jackapoo named Happy. He sits in a basket on the front. So I still find my enjoyment with my bikes.
Where are your favorite places to ride in Hampton?
Oh, I love Buck Row, Fort Monroe. I wish we had a bike path to go from Buck Row to Fort Monroe, so that could be a whole big loop. But that's future planning with the city. That's really campaigning with the city to get that road turned into a bike path. But yeah, that would be my ideal. That whole big, awesome loop of water and roads and trees and parking lots.
Do you find Hampton to be a good rideable city, a good bicycle city?
Parts. According to the survey that the city had done, I think 3 years ago, we have lots of points of interest, but lots of points of conflict, where we have big major roads that stop the ability to go safely from point A to point B. There's a stopgap. And I think our streets and bridges and our people are doing the best we can, but we don't have, there's stops. There's stops that need to be looked at and figured out so we can have a safe path all the way around the city.
What kind of response do you get when you give someone a bicycle, whether it's a kid?
Well, I try
or
not
an
to be
adult?
there. I try not to be there. I really don't want myself to be the one to give the bike. I want somebody like a police officer to give a bike. I want a facility worker to give a bike. I want somebody in leadership or somebody in their neighborhood to give the bikes, because that's the connection that they have on a daily basis. So I just want to feed the bikes. I want to feed the bikes to wherever they need to go, so I can sit back and see who needs this need, who needs this need, who needs this need, and I'm not the one that's giving the bike out.
Last thing I want to ask you about, tell me about your smiley face here.
Well, my smiley face is Native American beadwork, and I had it made because when you walk into a room, something big and bold, people know what you're about. So my smile face that's what I'm about. Let me bring a smile. Let me bring the kindness. Let me bring the love. Let me show you that I'm not a threat, and let's work on a relationship. That's kind of what it's about, is let's make connections.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We look forward to following everything you're doing with getting more bikes into the community, getting more people riding.
We don't know where it's going to go, but it's going to go up.
Every single bicycle you put out there, every single person you put on a bike is making a difference.
Yes, sir. I agree.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for watching Round Robin.